TLC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outcast TLC here with your NXT review. This week, we have just come from Survivor Series, and it's got a lot to live up to, seeing as though we just had an amazing Monday Night Raw with the return of Randy Orton, CM Punk, and most importantly, R-Truth. So you had Survivor Series, you've got Raw, now we've got NXT. Let's see if it's as good as those two shows. We open up the show with Tony D and Stacks versus Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza for the NXT Championship match. Tag Team Championship match that really didn't live up to it, in my opinion. To be honest, the start of it was more interesting than the whole match. You had the part where Angel and Garza are coming out, but then the family like attacking from behind after what happened last week. Now, if you didn't see what happened last week, Stacks and Tony are at the little restaurant having some carbonara, forget about it, collecting all the taxes from all the different people who work for him. And he goes to go outside, and then, well, they get attacked by Angel and Carrillo, don't they? Those dirty dogs, attacking our good guys, Tony D and Stacks, the mob members. It's great to see that NXT has a priority straight. But like I say, not really anything to write home about in this match. I have on my notes here, the only interesting thing that happened in this match was the fact that Vic Joseph mentioned 2 dimes on commentary, which was strange to hear, to be honest with you, because 2 dimes used to be a part of the Tony D family, but he was released from WWE, and now he's on AEW. So, it's nice to hear he confirmed that he actually died in NXT because, they took care of him, forget about, mafia style in the boot of a trunk with cement boots, etc. So, yeah, 2 dimes he's dead. It's great to have confirmation. Speaking of somebody who's going to die, later on tonight, Nathan Fraser is caught by Ilya Dragunov talking that trash. So Nathan Fraser and a couple of other guys are watching the TV backstage, and basically Nathan Fraser was talking about how if he had to choose between the 2 lives between Baron Corbin's and Ilya Dragunov, he would choose Baron Corbin because he's rich and all of his family's in the USA, they're all together. And Ilya Dragunov takes that as disrespect. He takes that as you're insulting me and my family. You're insulting what I drive for. You're saying it's not worth it. Is that what you're saying? Obviously, Nathan Fraser's like, no, I respect you, this, that, and the other. And Ilya Dragunov is like, listen, I know how to solve this. Me and you in a match tonight. I was absolutely ecstatic about this because I hate Nathan Fraser. I hate his character. I hate his whole demeanor backstage. I hate his hard-hitting home truth BS. I think it's a load of bull. So I was absolutely buzzing when I found out Ilya Dragunov was going to take Nathan Fraser and destroy him. And we will talk about that later on tonight, guys, because it's very interesting to see, mainly because it's a slaughter. We now go on to the Iron Survivor Challenge, heading into NXT Deadline. We have one final pick from a Hall of Famer, and that is Jerry the King Lawler. He is picking the final 2 qualifying matches for the women's and men's, respectively, Iron Survivor Challenge matches. He first off picks Kiana James versus Kalani Jordan. I just want to say, by the way, while Jerry Lawler, he's clearly reading from a script here. It's the most scripted, non-emotional piece of trap I've ever heard in my life. He does not want to be there. He does not want to talk about it. He sounds like someone's paid him off Cameo just to have a conversation about NXT. He clearly does not care or what's the product. He's literally reading off of a script. I doubt he even knows who Kalani Jordan or Kiana James is. But anyway, he picks them. And then also for the men's, he picks Bron Breakker versus Eddie Thorpe, who was injured after last week's attack from Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, and Miles Bourne or Damien Kemp. They're all in that group. That group basically attacked Eddie Thorpe. Let's talk about those 2 matches now, because we might as well. Kalani Jordan versus Kiana James. This was a pretty decent match. This was the best of the qualifying matches tonight. I didn't really think much of it, to be honest with you, when it was going into the match, because I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Kiana James was going to win because, she's been pushed lately. Fool me once, I suppose, because Kiana James goes to hit the 401k. She does hit the 401k, but then somebody rings the bell and we turn, and it's Roxanne Perez. Of course, it's Roxanne Perez getting involved in everyone's business. Isn't this person supposed to be a babyface? And she's like the most annoying person in the women's division. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, that is enough to distract Kiana James. Kalani Jordan ends up getting the upper hand and then hits that split-legged moonsault thing that she does, which is beautiful for the 1, 2, 3. Kalani Jordan is in the Iron Survivor women's match. So I'm happy about that. I like Kalani Jordan. And that also means that pretty much everyone in that match is like never had an opportunity at the NXT Women's Championship. So, you know, all the new people, we will find out a little bit more about the Iron Survivor Challenge a little bit later. Let me just talk about the Bron Breakker versus Eddie Thorpe match first. This match wasn't as good. It didn't really surprise me that this match wasn't going to be as good. Not because of the two competitors in the in the ring. It was mainly just because one of them was selling a rib injury, which slowed him down a little bit. Eddie Thorpe. Bron Breakker is just the badass Bron Breakker. The best part of this match is actually the end, where Eddie Thorpe hits like 3 or 4 consecutive suplexes on Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker jumps up immediately, and Eddie Thorpe turns around right into a devastating spear from Bron Breakker here for the 1, 2, 3. It was beautiful, to be quite honest with you. It really shows how cool Bron Breakker and how badass Bron Breakker is. I really enjoyed to see it. It was very, very good. After this, later on in the night, we find out from Roxanne Perez, because she goes backstage and complains, if Kiana James wants to be in the Iron Survivor Challenge, she ain't going to be in there because she cost me the opportunity, so she doesn't get in there, just like me. And then we find out that apparently it's probably going to be a fatal 4-way on both sides. They're going to have last chance matches to fit that final slot in each of the Iron Survivor challenges. So everyone who lost the qualifying matches over these past 4 weeks are going to be probably in that fatal 4-way match. I'm assuming it's going to be a fatal 4-way. That's what they usually do on NXT lately. It's multi-person matches. In fact, we've got one tonight. So the multi-person matches for the win, baby. Let's go. That ends up in a massive brawl, by the way, between the whole women's division, but who really cares? We go now, still staying backstage, where Lexis King introduces himself to Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley. He's trying to stir the pot a little bit here, saying that, Brooks Jensen, none of the Hall of Famers picked you, Fallon Henley. You had opportunities after opportunities. Why is no one picking you, Brooks Jensen? Josh Briggs is leaving you in the in the rearview mirror, basically. Basically, try to say, your tag team partner's getting a success and you're not. You're going to be left behind in this whole little feud thing, etc. Brooks Jensen turns around and goes, yeah, well, I'll prove why the Hall of Famers should have picked me, because we're going to be facing you tonight, Mr. Lexis King. And Lexis smiles and walks away. I hope Lexis King gets a little bit better on NXT, to be honest with you, in the next couple of weeks, because lately he's really fallen flat after he's debuted. Is that just me? I hope not. I hope it's not just me who thinks that, because Lexis King really had potential in those vignettes that he was posting up, before he debuted. So hopefully he can get back to that amount of interest. The days are early still for Lexis King, so I'm not going to be that too hard on him, to be honest with you. It's not a big deal right now that he's not connecting with the crowd. It's more of a case of, he's not been on our TVs for very long, so I don't mind it. Okay. We now stay backstage where Alpha Academy challenged the Metaphor to a 6-person tag team match next week. It's a mixed person tag team match because Maxine Dupri and I believe it's probably going to be Chad Gable and Otis, or maybe a combination of Otis and Akira Tozawa. I don't know. Alpha Academy can pick between a couple of people in their group here. They want to challenge the Metaphor, that being Main Man Mensa, Lash Legend, and Noam Dar, of course. Jakara Jackson isn't part of that at the moment because she's still injured, I believe. We now go to later on in the night where the Metaphor are responding to this and they accept their challenge because they're on a different level. They are legendary, and it will be an honor to defeat a faction who are so beloved by the NXT and the WWE universe. It's going to be a good match that I'm looking forward to it, because Alpha Academy are very entertaining. The Metaphor are entertaining in their own way. So having a match between these two guys, it'd be great. We're now going to the best part of the night because we finally get some answers. Chase University. What is going on with Chase University? We get a press conference where Andre Chase is addressing all the news, all the rumors, what is going on. And we find out that he is grateful to the investigators being so cooperative with him, like sharing information. And it turns out that apparently Chase U funds have been used for gambling, and misuse of university funds as a whole, which isn't very good news, because that sounds like profiteering. It sounds like fraud. It sounds like a lot of bad things that's going on in Chase U. Andre Chase says he takes responsibility for all of it because he's the head of the university and he is responsible for everything that goes on in Chase U. He wants to thank the faculty and he wants to thank all the students, that are still coming to the Chase U, that are still dealing with the daily curriculum while this has all been going on. The gambling debts are quite high, apparently, as one of the news people asks him, "Who are you in debt to, Mr. Chase U?" And Andre Chase says he can't reveal that at the moment, but we know who it is, don't we, guys? It's the Tony D'Angelo family. That's what they were threatening a couple of weeks ago. They were threatening that not only do they want the tag team championships back, but Tony D must have lent Andre Chase or Chase University as a whole a lot of money. Why? What has Andre Chase got a gambling problem? What's going on there? Like, we don't really know. We still need more answers from Chase University, but it's getting more interesting by week, guys. The plot thickens. What's going to happen to Andre Chase in the end? What's going to happen to Chase U? Is it going to have to shut down? Who is responsible for all of these gambling debts and misuse of funds? I mean, Andre Chase says he's taking responsibility for it, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the one who's been gambling. It doesn't necessarily mean he's the one who's, misappropriating funds from the university. I have a feeling it might be JC Jane. I have a feeling it might be Thea Hale, causing cracks in the university. There is a possibility that it might even be the MVP, Duke Hudson. What is going on in the university? There's so many things that we do not have answers to yet, guys, but we hopefully will get answers by NXT deadline, because I don't want Chase U to go away. I don't want Andre Chase to lose the Chase University that he holds so dear, but there are a lot of people in Chase U that could be working against him. A lot of people that could be trying to get him in trouble and oust him out of the Chase U so they can take power for themselves. And like I say, JC Jane, Thea Hale, Duke Hudson, all prime subjects and suspects, in my opinion. Subjects and suspects. Okay, what am I talking about? Let's move on. There's a lot of backstage segments in a row here. We now go backstage to where Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are talking about the fact that NXT Anonymous has released footage, and it turns out that Lexis King is the one who attacked Trick Williams a couple of weeks ago, and Melo is furious because obviously, Lexis King is trying to stir many, many pots in NXT. He is the one who is trying to divide people against each other in the locker room. And he's like, how dare he try and break up the best duo of all time, Trick Melo gang. It's it's a disgrace. They try to break it up. He cost me a chance to go into the Iron Survivor Challenge. He took you out of the Fatal 4-Way NXT Championship qualifying match. We need to handle business. We need to, we need to get our licks back. It's time for him to get, it's like, basically it's time for Lexis King to get beat up. That's what I'm trying to say. Try to come up with a smart way of saying it, but it's basically, that's what I'm saying. Lexis King is going to get a beat down from Trick Melo, hopefully, but Trick turns around and goes, no, I can't do that yet. I've got something to focus on first, and that is the Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline, Melo. I can't focus on Lexis King when I have the biggest opportunity of my career, possibly winning the Iron Survivor Challenge and then going on to face whoever wins at Deadline for the NXT Championship. I can't focus on Lexis King. Don't get me wrong. He will get what's coming to him, but just not right now. And Melo kind of takes that the wrong way and says, okay, you've got something to focus on. I've got nothing to focus on because Lexis King is the one who costs me. Lexis King is the one who, cost me the match to get into the Iron Survivor Challenge. And Trick's like, I don't really know what to say to that, to be honest with you. But there is a little bit of tension in Trick Melo still. Lexis King plan still in motion. What's going to be happening there, guys? Are you a fan of the whole Lexis King character? I'm interested, by the way, to get you guys' opinion on it. Because, like I say, it's early days. I'm interested in the foundation that they're building for the Lexis King character. But I want to know a wider opinion on Lexis King, and I want to know what you guys think, where the Trick Melo tension is going to go. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I still think it's going to be going to NXT Stand and Deliver at WrestleMania weekend. I think that's the penultimate match that needs to happen between these two guys. Close friends turn bitter enemies. It writes itself. It always has rights itself in WWE. I just think that it's the right conclusion, to the Trick Mello situation. Maybe they can come together in the future and, team together again on the main roster. Maybe they can come together again and, like have a friendship after the match. But I do think that the whole situation needs to be resolved. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. What do we go to next? We go to Ilya Dragunov. Oh, yes. Ilya Dragunov versus Nathan Frazer, guys. Yes. Ilya Dragunov versus Nathan Frazer. My personal favorite match of the night. Mainly because Nathan Frazer gets absolutely destroyed by Ilya Dragunov. There's not much to say about this match apart from that. Nathan Frazer does get a little bit of like momentum going, hits like a cool little drop kick. He gets some of his moves in, but for the most part, it's just Ilya Dragunov just beating the crap out of Nathan Frazer, suplexes here, like hard chops there, and then he hits him with 3 H-bombs, 1, 2, 3 for the victory. That's how it should end. That's how it should be, just in my opinion. What do we get next, guys? Oh, yes. After this match, Ilya Dragunov is there in the ring still, obviously, like calming down after just destroying Nathan Frazer, which is just amazing to see. And then Baron Corbin comes on the screen and says, hey, look what you just did to someone who you used to call a friend. Like, just for talking about your family. You're all worked up and you're ready for Deadline. I can feel it. But it's funny because he said that he would choose my life because I've got money, I've got power, all my family's here, whereas you've got nothing except for the NXT championship. That is the only thing that is keeping you here, Ilya Dragunov. And funnily enough, that is the only thing I need to complete my life. So at NXT Deadline, I'll be coming for that championship. And then he just says, he turns around and says, have a lonely night, champ. I love this. Just this character from Baron Corbin, just this cold, calculating character from Baron Corbin. It's beautiful to see. It really is beautiful to see. I like the fact that he's manipulating Ilya Dragunov, going at Ilya Dragunov a different way than everyone else has. Everyone else has tried to, match Ilya Dragunov's, intensity and strength and power. Well, Baron Corbin can do that, but at the same time, he's added an extra layer, which is like, the psychological point of view, where he is coming at him from like a family perspective, where he's saying, you can't see your family on a day-to-day basis. I'm coming at you from a screen here. I thought that'd be a best way to get in contact with you because, you're used to doing that, talking to your kids and your wife. Oh, like Baron Corbin is just fantastic at the moment. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's just a really cool character. And if he brings it up to the main roster in WWE, then he needs to carry on this momentum. Like it's the best thing that's happened to him in years, this character. It's the best character that he's ever had, in my opinion. This kind of like lone wolf mixed with I'll do whatever the hell I want gimmick. I think it's amazing. I love it. We now go backstage to an interview with Lyra Valkyria. She has been congratulated after a match with Xia Li last week, and she says, what's next for Lyra? And basically she just says, I'm waiting for the winner of the Iron Survivor Challenge. That's all, because that's my next focus, because then that's my next challenger heading into 2024. So, I mean, she's right, to be fair. Like, Lyra Valkyria needs to focus on it. We now stay backstage because, oh God, this is such a just a crap segment. Like, I love Carmen Petrovic. From the little that I've seen of her, I actually quite like it, to be fair. But she's just talking about here how good she is at martial arts. Look at me with my martial arts, and I can kick well and strike well. And Ariana Grace is just a pageant queen. She's annoying and she talks too much, basically. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm being a bit too high. I just thought this segment wasn't good enough to get her over, to be honest with you. Oh God, I've just seen what's next on my notes. So before Carmen Petrovic versus Ariana Grace, we get another segment with Joe Gacy. Now, if you don't remember, I believe it was last week where Joe Gacy was on the roof of the arena and he dropped his phone. Now he's under the ring. And it's like, why, Joe? What are you doing? What's going on? Like, ever since the schism broke up, Joe Gacy's just... I have no idea what's going on with Joe Gacy, to be honest with you. I'm not interested in it at all. I really am not. And to be honest, he took the focus away from a match that could have been really, really good. and I'm not happy with it. So let's just talk about it now. Like next we've got Ariana Grace versus Carmen Petrovic. The match is going fine, you know, like the crowd are divided. They love Ariana Grace. Some of them love Carmen Petrovic, like because Ariana Grace is a great heel in and of itself. But there's a bit in this match where Joe Gacy comes from out under the ring and steals the ring bell and runs away, and I'm like, okay, weird. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really know what the point of Joe Gacy is at the moment. Have you got anything for him? Have you got any proper storylines for him? He keeps saying that he doesn't know who his next target is, but maybe he does. That just sounds like the writing staff have nothing for him. but that's just me. In this match, by the way, we get an ending here where Ariana Grace hits Carmen with a thumb to the eye and then a power slam for the 1, 2, 3. Ariana Grace wins this match. Joe Gacy comes back out and starts just slamming on the bell. There is a funny bit in this match where like Vic Joseph is like he says he's feeling sorry for the timekeeper, and Booker T's like, why? And he's like, well, he doesn't have the ring bell anymore. He could get fired. And Booker goes, no one cares about the timekeeper. And it's just like, oh right, okay, Booker, cool. Like it's so tight, it's so cruel, but because he just apparently just doesn't care about anybody. Apparently, like is what it is, I suppose. We're now going to another match, Brooks Jensen versus Lexis King. Again, another match that doesn't really have anything. There's quite a few matches this week in NXT that doesn't have really anything to them. Yeah, Brooks Jensen versus Lexis King. Lexis King wins this match after Mello tries to get in the ring and he's stopped by Josh Briggs. This obviously distracts Brooks Jensen, and Lexis King is able to hit a corkscrew DDT. Nothing to say about this, apparently. Obviously, Carmelo Hayes wants revenge on Lexis King, and it ends up costing Brooks Jensen. So, yeah, that's it, really. It's going to be a bigger rivalry, a bigger feud, I'm assuming, between Lexis King and Carmelo Hayes in the next couple of weeks. So this was just a stepping stone on to get here. Brooks Jensen, he's not really doing anything at the moment, so he's not really lost any momentum. It tells a little bit of a story in that faction where obviously you might get a little bit jealous of Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley because they're getting all the opportunities and he's kind of being left in the past. Yeah, like it did its job. It did its job, this segment. There's nothing else really to say about it. We now go on to the main event, guys. It is the Fatal 4-Way. And in order for Wes Lee to challenge Dominic Mysterio at NXT Deadline for the North American Championship, he must win this Fatal 4-Way. In this Fatal 4-Way, you have got, obviously, Wes Lee. You have got Big Bronson Reed. You've got Johnny Gargano. And you've got To the Moon in Cameron Grimes. This is just a crazy match, to be honest with you. It's chaos all over the place, but I tell you what, Bronson Reed is dominating in this match. You got Bronson Reed just literally just taking out everybody with suplexes, with power slams, with sentons. He's just slamming everybody all over the place. Absolutely dominant from Bronson Reed until he gets up to the top rope to possibly do the tsunami. And then Ivar comes out of nowhere. They start fighting. They start running each other into the ring post, into the steel steps. They start fighting backstage. It really leaves the door open for everyone else here because obviously then Bronson Reed is taken out of the match. I like this rivalry between Ivar and Bronson Reed. We've seen it on Raw. Check out Courtney's review, by the way, from yesterday. We've seen this on Raw where they were just absolutely battering the crap out of each other. Just two kaijus just beating the holy shit out of each other. You got to love to see it in this era of WWE because big guys aren't just big guys anymore. They're athletic and they can move, and like Ivar can do the moonsaults and Bronson Reed can do the sentons. It's just a beefy, no bread, no water, just meat slapping competition between these two, and you've got to love it. And this match comes to an end here where Cameron Grimes hits the cave-in on Johnny Gargano, and you think, oh crap, Cameron Grimes might win this match. Even though on commentary, Dominic Mysterio says none of the other guys get an NXT North American Championship match. It's that, that wasn't in the stipulation, that wasn't in the rule. It's just Wes Lee that has to win. So like Vic Joseph is a bit shocked by this. Apparently, Mammy put this all together. Apparently, Mammy forked out a little bit more change to get Bronson Reed into this match, but that backfired, I suppose. But yeah, Cameron Grimes hits the cave-in on Johnny Gargano. He's about to go for the pin, but then turns right into the cardiac kick from Wes Lee, who gets the 1, 2, 3 on Cameron Grimes, which means Dominic Mysterio, his worst fate is realized and he has to defend that North American Championship against Wes Lee at NXT Deadline. Guys, what did you think of that match? What did you think of NXT this week? And are you looking forward to the last chance qualifying matches next week on NXT? I personally cannot wait for Deadline. I love the Iron Survivor Challenge that was introduced last year. Going to be absolutely amazing to see once again. But that was your NXT review from this week, guys. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Me personally, I thought it was a bit of a flat episode of NXT this week. Like, we've seen better from the past couple of weeks. I did like the Eddie Thorpe and Bron Breakker match because Bron Breakker looked, pretty powerful. Nathan Fraser versus Ilya Dragunov was amazing. The best thing of the night was Chase U, just because I want to see more answers from Chase U. I want to see what's going on. But that fatal four-way match was also impressive. But all in all, I just thought it was a bit of a slow episode. But yeah, let me know what you think of that in the comments. Guys, if you want to see more of us, check out tomorrow's podcast where we're all going to be discussing what's going to be going on in the WWE universe. It's going to be an amazing episode. Sorry, a notification just came up on my screen then telling me about my notes there. That's why I got a little bit distracted. Yeah, but make sure you check out that podcast. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Also, guys, check out what we've got coming on Saturday morning, which is a SmackDown review. Yesterday, we have an amazing review from Monday Night Raw where CM Punk and Randy Orton and R-Truth returned. That is done by Courtney. Check that out. But for now, guys, I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. Go follow us all on TikTok, on Instagram, and on X/Twitter at OutcastedOC. Peace out.